Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. And hopefully you've been following the channel and subscribing, because I often refer to older videos. And if you have been following, you'll know that I recently replaced my Line 6 M5 with a Line 6 HX1. Okay, multi-effects unit. And so I've been incorporating the HX1 into my big pedal board, which also has two Eventide H9s and a Boss DD200 digital delay unit. So basically mostly a multi-effects unit. And I control those with a Source Audio MIDI controller. Okay, and the MIDI controller has banks of 4 presets. Okay, and so I've been working on that, trying to program in, basically for right now, just presets. Later on I can go in and edit the existing presets. Here I'm just using presets provided by Line 6. But I can go in and edit them, you know, everything from raising the level, the mix, the rate, and so on and so on. And also the time, you know, whether it's 8th notes or 16th notes and so on. But for right now, they're just Line 6 factory presets. And I'm pretty much doing the same thing with my Eventide H9s. And hopefully get enough sounds to record with, you know. Now, of course, I'm going to have a lot more presets, which is why this video is kind of fun, because I can show you what I've got for right now, and then we'll call this part 1, and then in part 2 I'll show you some more presets that I've discovered. Okay. So let's begin here. The very first bank on my MIDI controller is called 0, and it has 4 presets. Okay, and some interesting things here. Okay, the very first one is called bypass, right? In other words, it turns off all the effects. Okay, so basically it turns off all the effects. It's called bypass. So basically here I've just got the guitar straight to the amp. You know, just basic. Basically just no effects at all. Okay? Now the next one is a very important one. It's bass. And this is mostly coming from the HX1. And it lets me emulate bass on guitar. Okay, now one thing to keep in mind with this bass one, coming from the HX1, it's monophonic. And so if you play both together, you get this kind of warbling sound. I'll give you an example. Yeah, see that? I'm gonna wah, and that's because you're playing two notes at a time. Now, if you were to take something like this, the electroharmonics bass 9, for example, is polyphonic. And so sometimes I'll switch to the very first preset, which is the bypass. Bypass is all effects, and then turn this on to get polyphonic bass. But most of the time, you know, I just need a single note kind of thing, you know, kind of. Okay, so there we go. Now the next one is a pretty basic sound, which I call clean. Okay, and it involves the H9. And on this first one, the HX1 is not even involved. It's just basically reverb from the Eventides. Right, this is my basic clean sound. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, just a clean sound. So just a real nice clean sound there. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. Remember, I've got 4 effects possibilities. And we're already on the third one. The first one was a bypass. Second one was the bass. Third one is the clean sound. But watch what happens, the way I have it programmed, when I turn off the clean sound, instead of turning it off, it actually turns on the HX1 and provides a compressor. And it's called the Deluxe Comp on the HX1, and it sounds like this. It's a lot louder and more of a compressed clean. Alright, and now we're moving on to the fourth sound, which is delay, basically. One of my favorite delay sounds. And it doesn't include the HX1 when you initially hit the button. So it turns off the HX1, and here I just have the Eventides. playing a delay. But now here's the thing. If I hit it again, it should turn off, but instead, what it does is it stays the same, right? It's basically one delay, one reverb on the H9s, but the HX1 snaps into action again, and I'll show you what it does, right? And this one's called Elephant Man. It's basically a delay, and it switches to a eighth note, right? So if you compare that to the delay without the HX1, you get if I introduce the HX1 and the time is synced via MIDI clock. So it's kind of that eighth note syncopation, whereas if you take off the HX1, then you get this kind of. Alright, so that's the first bank. These are the sounds I've come up with, okay? And now keep in mind, these aren't organized very well or anything like that. And they're just sounds I've come up with, that I find in the HX1 that work well with the H9s, getting different kind of sounds. And I've gone through quite a bit here that I haven't programmed in yet, and there are tons and tons of sounds from delays and choruses and things. Now out of those, right, some I'll use very sparingly, if at all, and others I'll use a lot. And the ones I use a lot, I'll reorganize them, in the MIDI controller, right? So the banks of 4 will have the most used preset sounds. So there you go. And then, surprisingly, it's a lot of work, believe it or not, because each preset you've got to put in program changes to each of the pedals, but also continuous controller messages to turn the pedals on and off and those kinds of things. You know, it's very interesting. And I'm pretty pleased with a lot of the sounds. You know, some of them are kind of bizarre sounds, and I don't know, I've used a couple of them, you know, it just depends. But these are the ones I have put down thus far. So, part 2 will be another set of presets. And let's see what those sound like. Alright, very good. See you next time. Okay, bye.